win the party leadership and you become the Prime Minister of this country, what will be your immigration policy? So the cost of living nowadays is bothering Canadians more than anything else.
Yes.
Do you have a specific plan that you will implement in order to ease?
You have single mothers who have to skip meals so their kids don't have to because they are part of the 4 and 5 households that have cut their diet because of costs. We're going to remove the government gatekeepers in order to give immigrants the chance to have bigger paychecks while building our economy. To reunite particularly spouses, a lot of young people who are married, but their spouse is trapped in another country because of the bureaucracy. In part because I wouldn't have a wife if there weren't for immigration. She is a newcomer to Canada.
You were saying something about the immigration again. What is your take on this recent immigration changes? Red FM ਸੁਣ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ 89.1 ਤੇ 93.1 CKYE। ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਲੀਡਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਦੇ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਰੰਟ ਰਨਰ ਨੇ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਪੋਲੀਵਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ 'ਚ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ। ਪੀਅਰ ਪੋਲੀਵਰ ਹੋਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੋਕ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੋਣ, ਉਹ ਕੰਪੈਰੇਟਿਵਲੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਯੰਗ ਲੀਡਰ ਨੇ, 43 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਉਮਰ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਆਫ ਇੰਪਲੋਇਮੈਂਟ ਅਤੇ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੈਟਿਕ ਰਿਫਾਰਮ ਦੇ ਅਤੇ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ। ਔਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਮੌਕਾ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਹੈ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਐਰਨ ਓਟੂਲ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਹਟ ਜਾਣ ਤੋਂ ਪਿੱਛੋਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲੀਡਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਕੈਂਪੇਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਿਸਮਤ ਅਜ਼ਮਾਉਣੀ ਮੁਨਾਸਬ ਸਮਝੀ ਅਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਲੀਡਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਰੇਸ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਫਰੰਟ ਰਨਰ ਹਨ, ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ। ਉਹ ਭਵਿੱਖ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਬਣ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕੀ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਲਈ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਿਸ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਨੇ, ਇਸ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਏਗੀ। ਮਿਸਟਰ ਪੋਲੀਵਰ, good morning and welcome.
Good morning to you. Thank you very much for hosting me here.
Thank you. How's your campaign going?
Energized. What I'm finding is people want to take back control of their lives. Big bossy governments have been isolating people, shutting down businesses and forcing medical decisions that should be left to individuals. They've also inflated the cost of living. The cost of government is driving up the cost of living. The more they spend, the more we pay. As a result, we have 30-year highs in inflation. House prices have doubled, and people are suffering. They're looking to me, because I have a common sense policy to fight inflation and make dollars go further so that people have the freedom to own their own home, afford the food that they desire, and gas their own vehicles. In other words, make more, cost less with paychecks and not debt. That is what I mean when I say that I'm going to give Canadians the chance to take back control of their lives.
Mm-hmm. So the cost of living nowadays is bothering Canadians more than anything else.
Yes.
Do you have a specific plan that you will implement in order to ease this inflation?
Yes, so let's start with the problem. The cost of government is driving up the cost of living. Inflationary deficits have sent more dollars chasing fewer goods and services. The government has printed about $400 billion to fund its overspending, but that money has flooded into the economy and bid up the price of goods and services, so that now we have 32-year-old men living in their mom's basements because they are among the 9 in 10 aspiring homeowners that are locked out of home ownership. You have single mothers who have to skip meals so their kids don't have to because they are part of the 4 and 5 households that have cut their diet because of costs. And you have people who can't afford to drive even for a short staycation because $2 a litre gas here in BC is driving up the cost of living. What's the solution? One, get rid of the inflationary deficits. Mm-hmm. That means canceling the $100 billion slush fund the Liberals have put forward. Getting rid of the wasteful infrastructure bank that's giving billions of dollars to companies and bonuses for executives. Defunding the CBC, that's another $100 billion of savings. and bringing in a law requiring the government find $1 of savings for every dollar of new spending. That will bring down the cost of government to bring down the cost of living. Two, I'll get rid of the federal carbon tax. That means that BC will not have to increase the gas tax if I'm Prime Minister, and we can make fuel and heating more affordable. And three, I would, instead of creating more cash, we need to create more of what cash buys. Grow more food, build more homes, and produce more Canadian energy. So how do we do that? We remove the gatekeepers, the governmental gatekeepers that are blocking housing construction. For example, here in Vancouver area, the cost of governmental red tape is $600,000 for every single house. I'm going to require that the city bring down the cost of red tape and speed up building permits if they want to get more infrastructure money. They don't do that, they're not going to get the money. And that's going to force the politicians to allow more housing construction. I'm going to get the red tape off our farmers so they can grow more affordable food. And I'm going to remove anti-energy laws so that we can produce more clean Canadian energy like oil and gas, hydroelectricity, uranium for nuclear power, so that we have more affordable energy. So in other words, to simplify, make more, cost less, with paychecks, not debt.
Another important thing is that in the event you win the party leadership and you become the Prime Minister of this country, what will be your immigration policy?
Well, I'm pro-immigration. My wife is a refugee, after all. She came from Venezuela. And my major focus right now is removing the gatekeepers who are blocking newcomers from working in the trades and professions for which they are qualified. We all know too many stories of newcomers who are qualified as doctors that are forced to work in minimum wage jobs because the medical associations won't let them get a license to practice. The same is true across the trades. So I'm going to incentivize our provincial governments to require licensing bodies give immigrants an answer within 60 days of applying for a license to work in their field. And for those immigrants who are almost qualified to work in Canada but not quite, I will back up 30,000 small study loans that will allow them to take time off work, get the textbooks and testing in order to get licensed so that they can go from a minimum wage job right now to making hundreds of thousands of dollars in their profession or trade. And so we're going to remove the government gatekeepers in order to give immigrants the chance to have bigger paychecks while building our economy.
Under previous governments, including the Tory government, the backlog increased so much that people have to wait for their spouses, for their families, for years and years. How would you eliminate that wait?
Well, I'm going to put in more performance standards for our public servants. Right now, there's no incentive for our bureaucracy to speed up processing. They get paid the same amount no matter what they do, even if they do nothing at all. So we need to incentivize our public servants to speed up processing so that families are not caught in the heartache of endless waiting for a loved one who should be eligible to immigrate, but because of bureaucracy is waiting in an endless queue. These lines have gotten worse and worse in the last several years, and there's really no excuse. So I'm going to incentivize to speed it up. I'm also going to favor allowing temporary foreign workers, other skilled workers who come here to have quick pathways to permanency, and to reunite particularly spouses, I mean, a lot of young people who are married, but their spouse is trapped in another country because of the bureaucracy here. I want to speed up reunification for family reunification in general, but spousal reunification in particular.
And Mr. Poilievre, what do you think about this coalition of Liberal Party and NDP? Today, budget is coming, and we are hearing that there will be a ban on the foreign buyers. How would it impact the economy and our country?
Well, I support the idea of banning foreign buyers, but that won't solve the overall problem. The problem is we have too many dollars chasing too few houses, right? The government printed $400 billion of cash, pushed it into the financial and mortgage market. the very wealthy and the investment companies borrowed that money and bid up housing prices so that now working class young people can't afford them. Meanwhile, government gatekeepers at the local level prevent building permits and impose red tape that makes it very hard to build new supply. So you have the federal government subsidizing demand with newly created cash, and local governments blocking supply. It's no wonder that house prices have doubled since Justin Trudeau took office. It's housing inflation, or Justin-inflation. Just inflation, some people are even calling it. So what's the solution? Stop printing money, start building houses. So I'm going to end the money printing in Ottawa, and I'm going to use infrastructure money to leverage our municipalities to speed up building permits and allow for more densification in our big cities. That's what we have to do. Get the gatekeepers out of the way so that we can build houses and allow newcomers affordable places to live.
And the coalition between Liberal Party and NDP.
It means more inflation and higher interest rates, because they're going to spend we're hearing today that they're going to spend another $100 billion above and beyond all the spending they're already doing. Well, what does that mean? More money chasing fewer goods, which means higher prices. Deficits drive inflation. The cost of government is driving up the cost of living. The more they spend, the more it costs. And not only that, now this spending is driving up interest rates. We're starting to see interest rates are coming up. So we're going to have the 1-2 punch of higher inflation on your goods and services and then higher interest on your debt. That's what happens when you have a coalition of the Liberals and the SpendDP.
Recently, you have a few rallies in Ontario. I was just looking at the Lindsay. There a lot of people came to talk to you and see you and listen to you. You were saying something about the immigration again. What is your take on this recent immigration changes?
Yes, well, at my rally in Lindsay and at all of my rallies in big cities and small towns in every part of the country, I open my speech by praising immigration. Obviously, that's in part because I wouldn't have a wife if there weren't for immigration. She is a newcomer to Canada. Well, she's not new anymore. She's been here for 25 years. But all of us, with the exception of our First Peoples, are immigrants. And the Conservative Party should be the party of immigrants because we share the same values of faith, family, and freedom. And more I'm hearing immigrants say they came to Canada for freedom, but they feel like they're losing that freedom because government has gotten so big and bossy and is standing in the way of their legitimate aspirations. So that's why I want to get rid of the government gatekeepers that have led to slow processing times for immigration, that have blocked immigrants from working in their professions and trades, and that are now blocking immigrants from living in neighborhoods where there are good jobs because of governmental zoning restrictions that prevent new housing construction. Obviously, people who've been here a long time and are already in the neighborhood, they benefit from that because their neighborhood is blocked off by government regulation, but the newcomers are the ones that are being shut out. And so I believe that we need to remove the gatekeepers to allow immigrants not only to come to Canada, but to be full participants in our country, to be able to afford homes in economically prosperous neighborhoods, to work in their professions, to achieve their dreams, and to live in the freest country on earth. That's what I'm fighting for.
Immigrant groups and communities really appreciate your thoughts on this immigration policy that you're portraying right now during your campaign.
Yes.
But there is a little bit of hesitation and fear among immigrants that the shadow of the Preston Manning, shadow of the Reform Party, your party elders will allow you to do those things that you want to do?
Well, I've always championed immigrants throughout my entire career. And I did that when I was a federal minister, and I'm also doing it out in the open during the leadership race. So far, when I make my statements in favor of immigration and more opportunity for newcomers at my big rallies, people cheer. They're excited by it because they understand that Canada is a nation of immigrants. We all come here for freedom. And frankly, our country needs immigrants because more than 100% of the growth in the labor market is going to come from immigration. We need immigrants, skilled immigrants, to build our houses, to work as doctors, as professionals in other fields. Ours is a nation of immigrants, and my party, under my leadership, will be not only open to newcomers, but I want it to be the place where immigrants feel most at home.
Anything you'd like to say in closing? We're running out of time, and tell us how to become a member of your party if some people want to, and how they can vote for you.
Yes, you can go to pierre4pm.ca. That's the number 4. So Pierre, Pierre, number 4, pm.ca, and you'll see the membership link. You have to be a member to vote. If you're not a member, you cannot vote. It's only $15. Anyone who's over 14 can join. I would just say, look, don't accept being pushed around by the government anymore. It is time for all of us to take back control of our lives. This was meant to be a free country. As Laurier said over 100 years ago, when he was asked what was Canada's nationality, he said he did not define our nationality by ethnicity. He defined it by an idea. He said, Canada is free and freedom is its nationality. So all of us can share in freedom. It belongs to us all. So take ownership of it. Take back control of your life. Join with my campaign. I would like to have you as part of this growing movement.
Mr. Poilievre, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for hosting me.
And good luck.
And to you.
Bye-bye.